We're here today to provide an update on the Destiny Aaron missing person investigation. You all may recall on or about February, or I should say April 10th of this year, Destiny was reported by her parents as missing. We learned through investigation that she didn't actually go missing on the 10th, but that she had been missing since April 1st. Our investigation has revealed that she was at a party and left the party on foot on the early morning or in the early morning hours of April 1st. She left the party on foot, which was on Placid Road in Hudson. And the last people to see her were people who were at the party when she left on foot. They actually saw her on the shoulder of East Road in Hudson, and those were the last folks to see her. During the course of this investigation, we deployed multiple and varying investigative methods that include traditional policing tactics, whether it be interviewing people, talking to anyone and everyone that may have or would know where Destiny might be. This included cell phone related investigations, social media related investigations, and finally, this past Tuesday, shortly, or in the early morning, or I should say the early evening hours of this past Tuesday, the sheriff's office got a call from residents on Jayton Avenue. They had been in a wooded area north of Jayton Avenue when they located what they believed to be human remains. They called the sheriff's office, our personnel got out there, and they too, on initial inspection, believed it was human remains. But because of the location, there being very poor lighting, we held the scene until yesterday morning. And the first thing yesterday morning, we began to process the scene. And with the help of many people, to include the medical examiner's office, but in particular, the University of South Florida's professor, Dr. Kimmerly, we were able to successfully analyze and process the scene. Part of that analyzation and processing included a portion of the remains going to the medical examiner's office, where this morning we learned that the remains were in fact that of Destiny Aaron. Through dental records, we have identified her as being at the scene and the remains that we recovered. This is still an open and active investigation, and there's still some unanswered questions, but at this point we don't have any evidence, or there's only preliminary, and there's a preliminary belief that there's no evidence to suggest that some sort of trauma caused her death. Obviously, we're still investigating why and how she ended up where she did, but right now we don't have any definitive evidence that suggests how and why she got there. As I mentioned, this is an open and active investigation. I'll take questions here in a minute, but because of the nature and the status of the investigation, there may be certain things that, for the integrity of the investigation, we may not be able to answer. But if you have any questions.
Do you guys believe this was a suicide?
We're looking at that possibility. It's still definitely in the realm of possibilities in this case.
How about drugs related?
We believe that there has been a history of drugs, and it's possible.
Did anyone at the party indicate any strange behavior on her part before she left that party?
I think she was intoxicated at the time. I don't know that I would necessarily characterize that as strange behavior, but she was definitely intoxicated when she left.
Do you have any indication that she was set to go to a child custody hearing a few days later? Do you have any indication that she was in fear that she might lose her child or children?
So there was a hearing to be that was scheduled a few days following the first. So she was supposed to attend that. Yes, ma'am.
What do you know about that custody battle?
I only know that it involves, as you mentioned, a custody battle, and that the child's paternal grandmother has, at minimum, temporary custody of the child.
Was the house that the party at anywhere near the location where she was found? Because we talked about Jason and then Placid. I'm not sure, are those streets close to each other?
Yes, sir, they are. If I had to guess, I would say anywhere from a quarter to a half mile away from the area that the party was at and or where she lived to where ultimately she was found on Jayton Avenue or just north of Jayton Avenue.
And I guess just sort of to think this out a little bit, like you say that you found no signs of trauma, but it's been 8 months. So that's a lot of time for a scene to be left alone, ostensibly, right?
Yes, sir.
Were the remains jumping off that just skeletonized at that point? Or were
Yes.
just bones?
Yes.
Okay.
We heard from neighbors yesterday that like maybe a volunteer search party had gone out. Had the sheriff's office ever sent out a search party? Did you ever get any kind of property warrant for that area?
So in the days after the report, part of what we did as traditional policing methodologies is to do ground searches, to do cadaver dog searches, to do ATV searches in and around the area that she was seen. As for a informal volunteer-based search, I don't know that we were part of that.
I don't
but we
know if they were
ourselves-
accurate about that. We
Okay.
just heard that it might not have, that it may have been something in addition to.
No, the sheriff's office deployed resources in attempt to search for her.
How are her parents?
How are they?
Yes.
I'm told that her father, when notified, thanked us for letting him know, and he was thankful for our efforts.
Do you know how old her child is? Are you able to give us that information?
I believe she's 2.
Okay.
What's next in your investigation? If you don't suspect foul play, do you continue to question people, or is that part of the investigation kind of put on hold or put to the side at this point?
So it's not that we don't suspect foul play. I'm not saying we do or don't. We have to go with the facts and what the evidence suggests. And so it's still an open and active investigation, and we still want anybody who knows anything, saw anything, heard anything in or around that area on the night or early morning hours of April 1st to come forward and let us know if they haven't already.
Her remains, will Kimberly take a look at them, and she's pretty much known for.
Yeah, Dr. Kimberly's team was invaluable in this situation, and in unison with the medical examiner's office, she will be helping analyze them and trying to draw meaning for us in hopes to provide some further closure to the family.
And just to kind of weave that point together I talked about earlier, the time that's elapsed is part of the reason that you're not saying either way right now. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Because it's been 8 months.
Yes, sir.
Is it possible that we may never know how she died?
Yes.